Moonstone Island is now on Switch, and let me tell you, this game's really wholesome time. It's good.
What even is that? That's terrible. This is a shock value opener. Who wrote this? Oh, I did. What is wrong with me?
Part Pokemon, part wholesome farming sim like Stardew Valley, part card battler. It's just such a fun romp. But there's one thing I always wonder when there's a new monster tamer or creature collector game. What are the monsters based on, and why are they named what they are? Well, this video will be the answer. This is every spirit in Moonstone Island explained. Let's organize them all by type and start with the Earth type. Ankylo is too cute for this world. It mixes elements from two iconic dinosaurs, the Ankylosaurus and a baby T-Rex, though I guess the Ceratosaurus would be more accurate, since they are theropods like the T-Rex, but with those nose horns. Brick house is built like a brick house. A slang term for having a body like this, only not literal. This spirit will hit you like a ton of bricks, and having the East Asian styled roofing brings to mind the Nurikabe, a Japanese spirit or yokai that's literally a living brick wall monster in some interpretations. Cool Slime is your iconic JRPG slime, only it's cool because it's wearing its baseball cap backwards. Plus, I imagine wiping its slime on your skin would cause an icy hot like cooling effect. Well, also, it's literally the cool slime from Terraria. Dusty is just a little guy, a little dust bunny, a Susuatari, little dirty dust spirits, carrying around a pebble because it's so small. Fluffox is simply a fluffy furry fox. Gemlin is a little gremlin, but with gems for hair. Hopstraw is a scarecrow, which are typically stuffed with straw, and being that it's up on a stick and has no legs, it's got a hop everywhere. A hop, skip, and a leap away is an old saying, and now it's a hop straw and a leap. Could his hat and jacket be made of hop sack? Long log is a long log, like the kind you'd train your martial arts against? Maybe? No, it's just a log with a face. Mumbleweed is a tumbleweed, but it's shy and quiet, and it hides its face and all of it inside the little tumbleweed, and it mumbles because it doesn't want to bring too much attention to itself even when it has something to say, so it just kind of has to mumble. Oaken. To be oaken is to be made out of oak wood, which it is. It's a little dryad nature spirit with a plywood mask. Papus is a little dandelion spirit whose name is the botanical term for the parts of a dandelion that blow off when you blow them away. The Papus. Punchy pot. Better watch yourself. This living plant pot will punch you. Wommer. That's a fun name. It's a worm in an apple, a poisoned apple by the looks of it, but the R in worm has been moved to the end of the name, perhaps in reference to various dragons and wyrms in Norse mythology whose names end similarly, like Jormungandr, Fafnir, and Nidhogg. Really, many lindworms in general. And Wildwood is the Earth-type boss. It's like the Wispy Woods tree boss that's like the first boss in every single Kirby game. Just an innocent happy tree with an innocent and cute little face. Destroy it, you monster. Water types now. Bebo is a fun way to slur the word beach ball, but spelling its name this way makes it the name Beau, which means handsome. It's also boyfriend in French, and is common-ish slang for cool or handsome young men amongst French Canadians and in the northeast and midwest of the US. Claudio is a rain cloud with rain boots. Perhaps it's loud in its thunder-making, has high audio, but actually Claudio and Claudia are both common names in Western Europe, though the name just means enclosure or lame. Not exactly something nice to name your baby, though interestingly, being lame originally meant that you just have no functional legs, which also describes Claudio. Even though it has rain boots, you got no legs to fill them. Dropple is just a little water droplet. Fishbowl. Unironically, I love this in a very silly sort of way. It's a fishbowl on legs. Float is an interesting fish. It's part puffer fish, part mola mola sunfish, which are notoriously tanky, just like this spirit, and it's part fisherman's float. Now, Octopup. Of all of the things to mix with an octopus, a puppy with a sailor's hat? Is it because a pup is the opposite of a puss? Cat dog? Yeah? Like a dogfish is a thing, but it's a shark. Maybe this is because like the Hungarian sheepdog and similar breeds have fur that bunches up and is kind of tentacly. Or maybe it's because Dumbo octopus are just little puppies with their flappy puppy ears. They just happen to also be octopus. Sand Crashel is a sand elemental in a bucket, and like how waves crash upon the beach, destroying sand castles, it will crash into its opponents.
Snorko. It's a snorkeling leopard gecko. Simple as Star C. Get it? It's a sea star, but they flipped the words around and gave it 5 eyes with which to see you with. Star C?
Torble. It's a turtle with an igloo-like shell and a wind-up key or bubble blower on top. Prepare for a torrent of bubbles from this torble guy. The grassy algae on top of its shell could also make it kinda like a baby world turtle. Titan, the water boss. It's a whole oceanic tide, a tidal wave even, truly like the Titan elementals of Greek myth.
Love the paper boat as a hat too.
Poison type. Bird brain is an insult for people who are unintelligent, foolish, or scatterbrained. It's so dumb it poisons itself, and given its royal gown and crown, it is a reference to the numerous nobles and royals who have poisoned others or been poisoned themselves. And then whomever winds up getting the throne after the many, many poisonings is just too dumb and or greedy to properly rule the kingdom, so it fails. Maybe that's the reference here. It's also just kind of like a cartoony emu ostrich and one of those birds that dip down and suck up water on your desk. Emo shroom. As the name suggests, it is quite the emo shroom. It's shy with its emotions. The mushroom veil is even like an emo haircut covering one of its eyes. Marcia. It's like the name Marcia or Martha, but on a marsh monster, a bog beast, a living elemental made of mud and poisonous plant matter. Common guards for swamp witches. Rad Lad. It's just like Rad Lad from Ooblets. What a rad lad, or a cool boy who's also a radish. Ribbite is probably the strangest frog thing I've seen in a Pokemon-like game ever. Like, it's a poisonous frog that says ribbit and will bite you. That's the name, but it's just the frog head with a single frog foot? Good luck jumping. I guess you're like a pogo stick. Taddle is a much better frog. It is a poisonous frog that's still partially a tadpole, so it's got the tadpole tail, and its neurotoxins addle the brains of its foes. Taddle. Toxito. Uh-oh, stinky. It's a dirty, rotten sock. So toxically yucky disgusting that it's poisonous just to sniff it. Given the feet and tail, it's very much like a sewer rat trapped in a sock puppet. I love it. Trunkle is a rotten tree stump taken over by poisonous mushrooms. It trundles along, spreading its fungal spores. Snap plant is a carnivorous plant that will snap at you. Carnivorous plants catch and slowly digest their prey with acidic enzymes and other toxins. And Snapdragon is the poison boss. Snapdragons are a real plant, though they aren't poisonous. Not even to most pets. But it was still chosen as the name because, as a name, it sounds really stinking cool. And because this plant monster is like an acid-breathing dragon that snaps at you. Whoa, electric type already. Armbot. Beep boop. Your typical cartoony robot with long arms to help reach things and do chores. Barkbite. It's like the iDog. Remember those? It's also like your classic robotic dog toys and cartoon characters. I like how the name refers to the all bark and no bite saying, but it's bite as in computer data. Bread mouse. Oh my god, it's a robotic toaster, but the bread inside has the little mouse ears and mouse face. But the name is also a play on Deadmau5, one of the biggest names in electronic dance music, at least a decade ago or so. But also the biggest from Canada. Bullbot, a hovering UFO alien robot that lights up the dark because it's also a big light bulb. Burgloon, finally a non-robotic electric type, and also one of the cutest here. I actually love this. It's a raccoon burglar, which is not the most original of ideas, but it being electric type is. I guess it's like the Pikachu clone of the game. Capacibee is a bee with a high capacity capacitor, able to shoot off loads of electricity for its size. Its ability is fitting of its name, as when its HP reaches 0 the first time, it recharges, and an electronic capacitor stores and releases electricity, like for charging. Cumulo is a jolly good fellow, and a cumulonimbus cloud is a thundercloud. It is me. Kiwiwatt. It's like a kilowatt, a measurement of electricity, but on a kiwi bird with really long legs. Also, all that static electricity is going straight to its feathers. Look at the poof. Snome. An ohm is another electrical measurement, because this is an electric eel, an animal famous for jolting its prey and predators with electricity. But what's the SN in the name then? Oh, well, that's for snake, because it's also a snake, hence its ability being called Take This. doing the typical talking snake thing where the S's are elongated. Sparky! It's a little electric spark, a lightning elemental, ball lightning, an electron with a face. And Spark King is the king of sparking, the electric boss, a living ball of pure electrical plasma, which brings us right to the fire-type spirits, starting off with my favorite, Bonefire, who's a bonfire but made of bones because it's a skeleton who's on fire, like Ghost Rider. Skulls on fire is actually a pretty big trope in media.
Get me out of here, I'm proving a point.
Car key. It's like a hot rod with the cool flaming paint job, though visually it's just a generic car, but a wind-up one. The part you wind is called the key. It's like car keys. Flamane is like a flaming genie in a bottle, as gin and genies were originally said to be made entirely of smoke and fire. You can thank Disney for the more modern interpretation, but rather than just a fiery man in a bottle, it's a furry in a bottle, a manly lion with a big, fiery lion's mane. Flambit is a fire spirit through and through, who uses flame as a final gambit, perhaps. A strategic move where a player sacrifices something up front for future gain. Like throwing something valuable into a fire. You sacrificed it, but now your fire is growing bigger and bigger! Lucerna is Latin for lantern, and this spirit is a candle with a big, fiery face. Prickly is a prickly pear cactus. It's definitely interesting that this guy, who is straight up a plant famous for being filled with water, is not earth or water type. Like, fire still works though, they live in the hot, hot desert, but I don't know. I guess it's fine that it can spit fire. Sheep is a fire-breathing sheep with a high body temp. Sheep. Wool is famous for being an extremely warm material to make sweaters out of, after all. Sinjin is a dragon that singes you. It's a long dragon like Chinese dragons, and Jin in Chinese means bright and beautiful, which it certainly is. It can also mean gold, which is what its hollow color is. Hollow being what this game calls its shinies. It could also be a genie or djinn, sometimes called Ifriti, and are sometimes more demon or dragon-like. Spireling conspires to set fires and pyres. Pyrelings themselves are small fire elementals already, and this one is also a tiny spirit. It looks like a little devil that wants to bonk ya. And now for something that's completely the opposite, the ice-type spirits. Bandicle is a bandit popsicle that steals coins. It also has a band of pink color across its popsicle eyes, which resembles a bandana disguise. Bonguin is a little penguin with a layer of frost around its head and chest in the shape of a little bonnet, kinda, with the little danglies going down on the chest. Bon is also French for good. It's a good penguin. I see. Get it? It's ice type and it's a living ice cream cone. It's icy, but it being an ice cream cone with eyes, it sees with its eyes. But I do love that with the tongue in its eyes, it's got big yokai vibes, and I love that. Honk Shoe is too cute. It looks like it's just a little snowball with a face, but it's got a nightcap and it sleeps all the time. In old cartoons, Honk Shoe, me, 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 me is a funny way to depict someone snoring. Hig. How do I even begin to say that? It's a polar bear with a big warm sweater, and it turns out that hygge is a Scandinavian concept that describes a cozy and contented mood that's invoked by being super comfy, cozy, wholesome, huggy warmth in your home. Sorbaton is a bowl of living sorbet, and it will whack you with its spoons as if they were batons. Whistler is a snowboarding penguin. It whisks by you on its board with speed, but that's me trying to make its name deeper than it actually is. It's named after the biggest ski resort in North America, Whistler, which is in Canada. Yeeti is a yeti with an extra E. Perhaps that extra E symbolizes the giant snowball that it's always carrying and throw. Oh, it's yeet. Yeet, as in throw. Oh gosh. Yeeti. It's also got its big feet out. For free, even! Now, psychic type. Beardini is a bunny with a big beard, and given its ability Disappearing Act, it's clear that it is also named after Houdini, famous escape artist and magician. Beardini is like your classic rabbit in a hat trick. Look at you! Oh, that's clever! It's a classic sheet ghost looking at you through those holes, but instead of it being a bed sheet, it's a handkerchief, what you blow your nose and sneeze into. Hachoo! Loony Lid. Ah, it's like the Mad Hatter's hat, only more of a living witch's hat. Lid being slang for hat. Magic Hat. The magical cat, Minute. Now wait just a minute. An owl with clock hands on its body. It keeps time, counting the minutes and saying hoot. Minute. Mystislime, a mystical JRPG slime. And like the cool slime, it is also a classic town slime from Terraria. Posho is a living magical potion. Perhaps it's also posh, but no, I think it's just a magical potion. Rablet is like the silliest thing. It's a rabbit that lit up the room because it's also your typical standing floor lamp. Like, why would you mix those? I get that this game is treating psychic type almost like a magic type, and possessed or living lamps are common in like haunted houses and wizards' towers and such, but mixed with a rabbit? Is that just because of their own magical associations? Well, there's also Taro, your classic spirit deer, or the classic magical reindeer. Perhaps it's also named after tarot cards that supposedly foretell your fate. This spirit starts with the premonition card after all. And now, dark type. Wolfbane is the bane of wolves and is named after the wolfbane plant, which is named so because it's toxic and dogs hate it. In North America, it's said to be potent at killing werewolves specifically too, which is likely what happened here, since we've got what is essentially the ghost of a werewolf. Papox or papo is a wooden puppet clearly, and then the suffix ox means having such an appearance, or it shows exaggeration of an existing adjective, as if it says this is more puppety than a puppet. And also, that's what puppets typically do for shows. They move and appear like a person, but often exaggeratedly so, and they are often seen as creepy, hence their frequent use in horror media. And do you know what else is terrifying? The pox sickness. It spreads. Unlike casket, but I get it. It's a casket, or a coffin, but cat-themed. Dark coffee. Gosh, it's black or dark roasted coffee, but alive and nervous, because that's a common side effect of too much caffeine. Archaea. It's like an upside down, one-eyed snake. See, it's got the fangs that also kind of double as like devil horns, and then its tail is forked like a snake tongue or like a pitchfork. This is an evil snake, like Satan himself, who loves the archaic ways and mysterious arcana. It's also worth noting that its ability is called Eldritch Toll, and there's Arkham, the fictional city in Massachusetts that a lot of Lovecraft's original Eldritch horror stories are based in. Evil Eye is a little impish flying eye devil. I immediately think of Keese from Zelda, but really, just how common are evil, floating, or goopy flying bat eyes in horror media, especially in an Eldritch context? Heck, this enemy from Final Fantasy is also called an evil eye. Karyote is a bunch of goopy, menacing eyes, like what we just talked about. The name is curious though. So eukaryotes are organisms whose cells contain a nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles, which is all fine and well scientific talk that I totally understand, but really, if you just look at the images of them, yeah, they're kinda spooky looking scientific diagrams of cells that kinda resemble goopy eyes with stuff in them. You don't want that. So yeah, karyote's a bunch of evil fleshy eye cells. Gross. And the dark type boss? Missing No. Which, it might be a little on the nose there. Missing No is short for Missing Number, which all refers back to the original Pokemon games. Missing No was a glitched Pokemon you could get as a result of, well, a glitch, and it would slowly start to corrupt your game, which led to some nightmare fuel and a bunch of Pokemon creepypastas. Honestly, given that this Pokemon-inspired game treats Dark almost like an Eldritch type, I do think that's a very fitting thing to base your big dark boss on. Visually though, it's just a spooky eyeball in a hand. Another common creepy thing in video games and media and such, but like Zelda especially. And you know, Ganon is pretty much Eldritch when you think about it. But back to our Missing No here. It's got an Eldritch magic summoning circle in its hand too, and its hand is glitching out as it enters a reality in which it should not be. And now there are only 3 spirits left, and they are all any type spirits, meaning they are different types depending depending on the contexts. They change their type to fit the setting. The first is Overseer, who resembles a die for playing tabletop RPGs, but with a spooky eye on each face, giving it an evil throne or biblically accurate angel vibe. There's also whose name should not be said, but I can write it down here. There you go, yeah. It's a spooky, perhaps fallen angel in a robe with a single eye and glitched out eldritch wings. And the very last spirit is simply named Guardian, because it is a guardian spirit. They protect all of the dungeons throughout the land from would-be robbers and invaders and such. They are like your typical guardian statue, rock elemental golem creatures, artificial nature spirits, guards through and through, resting perhaps eternally, lest someone come near. So that was every spirit in Moonstone Island as of now, and it definitely has its own vibe. It doesn't try to take itself too seriously with its monsters, clearly, and I can respect that. Especially Fishbow. I love you. But which is your favorite? What do you think of the game? Let me know down below, and hey, why not check out our coverage of all the cassette beasts next? Another awesome Pokemon-like game. There's even a link for you here now. But I didn't put that there. Hang on, what's going on? Uh-oh.